If you spend any time scrolling online, you've definitely seen them. Those viral videos promising psychology hacks that are going to give you an instant social advantage. So today, we're going to unpack what's really going on with these popular tricks.
Come on, we've all been there, right? Wishing we knew the perfect thing to say, or how to make a killer first impression, or just feel a little more in control of a situation. It's a totally universal feeling.
And that's the hook, isn't it? A simple little trick, a quick fix that can supposedly change everything. And these tips are everywhere, promising to make you more likable, more persuasive, and, more powerful.
So first, let's just get into why these hacks go so viral. The thing is, not all of them are created equal. They really exist on a whole spectrum, from genuinely helpful social skills all the way to outright toxic manipulation. We're going to break down that entire spectrum, and we'll start on the light side.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the techniques that are mostly about building a genuine connection, appearing more empathetic and just making a good first impression. These are basically the tools for building rapport.
A lot of these tips are honestly surprisingly simple. Like, just using someone's name makes them feel seen and heard. There are even studies that show wearing the color red can make you seem more attractive. A lot of it just comes down to tiny physical cues, like tilting your head, which can signal that you're empathetic and trustworthy.
And this gets at the subconscious power of body language. Just by showing your palms when you talk, you're sending a nonverbal signal that says, hey, I'm open, I'm not a threat. And that can make people feel way more comfortable and connected with you.
Okay, this one sounds totally backwards, but it actually works. If you ask someone for a small, simple favor, like, hey, can I borrow a pen? It actually makes them like you more. It's because their brain has to justify doing the favor by thinking, well, I must like this person if I'm helping them out. It's just a fascinating little quirk of our minds.
All right, now we're moving into the gray area. This is where the intent starts to shift away from simple connection and more towards gaining a strategic advantage. This is a classic reframing technique. Instead of drawing attention to your mistake by apologizing, you flip it and praise their positive quality, their patience. It subtly shifts the power dynamic and makes you seem more confident and in control, even when things go wrong.
And some of these tactics get even more calculated. For instance, adding a slightly embarrassing detail to a lie makes it seem way more real. Using silence after you ask a question, that puts pressure on the other person to fill that quiet space, and they often reveal more than they meant to. And that one about staring at someone's forehead, that's a straight-up and pretty unsettling intimidation tactic.
Okay, now we have to talk about the dark side. And let me be super clear here. These next techniques are not tools for you to use. This section is all about awareness. It's about building a defense so you can recognize and protect yourself from toxic manipulation.
I'm sure you've heard this term before. Gaslighting is when someone systematically chips away at your sense of reality. They'll deny things they said, deny things they did, all to make you feel like you're the one who's crazy or misremembering. It is a deeply, deeply damaging form of emotional abuse.
Have you ever been in an argument where the other person just hits you with a tidal wave of jargon and statistics and examples that don't really fit? Well, that's not a debate. That's a tactic. The goal isn't to be right. The goal is to confuse you so much that you just give up.
Exactly. They aren't actually engaging with your points. They're just trying to make the conversation so complicated and exhausting that you back down. If you feel this happening, you can call it out. Just ask them to simplify their point and stick to the actual issue.
This is an extremely toxic technique you see a lot in relationships. A person will intentionally cause you distress, maybe by ghosting you or just being really distant. And then they'll suddenly come back with a flood of affection. This horrible cycle of pain and relief can create a powerful, almost addiction-like bond that's built on emotional instability.
This method follows a chilling, predatory pattern. The manipulator finds someone who's vulnerable, presents themselves as the only person who can save them, and then slowly isolates that person by creating dependency and controlling their entire world. They basically become the hero in a drama that they created themselves.
So, after going through this whole spectrum from connection all the way to control, what do? Well, the single most powerful defense you have against manipulation is just awareness. Recognizing the pattern is the first and most crucial step to breaking it.
And you need to keep an eye out for other red flags. This means things like emotional blackmail, where someone withholds affection to get their way, or someone mirroring your every move to create a false sense of trust. Anytime someone is using threats or over-the-top flattery, these are all signs of manipulation.
And that's really the question to leave you with. When does healthy influence
become toxic manipulation? When does building rapport turn into deceptive mirroring? Well, the answer almost always comes down to intent. Is the goal mutual respect and understanding, or is it one-sided control?
So, ultimately, that viral promise of getting the upper hand, it totally misses the point. The true advantage, the real power, doesn't come from a secret list of tricks to use on other people. No, it comes from understanding human psychology so well that nobody can use those tricks on you.